Okay, it's 6:02. I'm going to find Miriam so I know who I'm talking to. And just want to make sure everyone is muted. There's a Jenny and Alice, Amber. Okay. All right, I think it's recording now. Is it? Okay, great. Hello, everybody. My name is Liz Chin-Seet, and I'm really happy to share a breakthrough that can change your life. So just over 3 years ago, I was concerned about the telltale signs of aging. Vanity got the better of me, and I was looking at all sorts of things. Sorry, I just want to make sure you can see this. So this was October 2015, about a year after I discovered Renew 28, the gel. And prior to that, I was looking at all sorts of things to combat the signs of aging. You can see dragon's blood here that you can see at a very popular store. We had freeze frame. I was even seriously looking at doing derma rolling, which is needling, where they put this roller of needles all over your face to, try to improve your skin. And then I found that after a month of using the gel on my face, I felt that my ears, I've had scar tissue on my ears for over 40 years. I felt that they were softening. And I wasn't sure about that, but I had also given a tube of the redox gel to my sister for Christmas, and she confirmed for me that for her, as you can see here, December 2014, that this lumpy tissue here that she'd had for 26 years had started to soften. And you can see by March 2015, this one here is actually gone. So what I thought I was imagining in terms of my earlobes softening and the scar tissue in there actually softening as well, was no longer, I knew I was no longer imagining it, that it was actually happening. Then I had issues with my back, and I was seeing having all sorts of treatment for that until, someone's drawing on my screen, until my chiropractor said to me, well, why don't you use your magic gel as a challenge? And I thought, well, I'll do that. And I did. And I found that it helped greatly with my lower back issues. I had an issue where sorry, I've got all these messages popping up. With my shoulder, and I was looking at getting injections for that, and I really wanted to avoid it because I remember my mother had problems with that. So I started using the gel there, and so I moved from vanity to actually helping in lots of other areas. Then when I cut my finger in the kitchen, as often happens when you're really busy, I remembered someone mentioning use the redox liquid as a first aid to help stop bleeding, because I didn't have time to stop because I had to cook dinner for the family. So I put my finger in this little cup of the redox liquid, and this is the second time I had changed the liquid, and you can see how the blood actually congealed in the bottom. If that had been any other kind of liquid, it would actually have been dissipated through, and that liquid would have been pink or red. Then my daughter was in a very bad car accident where the car was written off. And when I got to her, she was in such shock. She didn't even know if she was injured. She didn't know whether she'd hit her head or anything. So I just brought out my tube of the redox gel, and I applied liberally all over her neck, her shoulders, her head, her arms, wherever I could reach. And it took about an hour for the tow truck to arrive. So by then I'd used about half a tube. And several hours later, we went to the hospital to check, and she didn't have any injuries that were noticeable, but she started to cough. And as she coughed, she started to get pain across her chest, and the doctor confirmed that she was likely to get bruising along her chest where the seatbelt was, and that it would last for 1 to 2 weeks. We kept applying the gel liberally that night, and the next morning, which was the morning of her 18th birthday party, she woke up without any bruises, without a headache, and without any discomfort at all. And by then we used about 1.5 tubes of the redox gel. And so I realized that, as I said earlier, apart from vanity, it was great for first aid. Okay, so just coming back now. So today we have a special guest, Miriam Smout, who is going to share her son's redox experiences with us. But before we get started, I invite you to have a think about a few questions to get in touch with what you are looking for in your life. So do you have a health challenge or know someone with a health challenge that needs help? Or would you like to reduce the visible signs of aging, as I did? Perhaps you need more energy to do what you love. Maybe you might have slowed down and you'd love to get back to where you were being very active. Or maybe you're an athlete or a sports person looking for improved performance and using products that would never fail a drug test. Or perhaps you're looking for more time and or more money freedom and a better lifestyle. I know I certainly am. So to really live well, we all need two basic things: a body that can do whatever you ask it to do, and enough money to ask it to do some great things. And to have that body, you must be exercising. You might be watching your diet already or taking nutritional supplements. You might be doing everything you think you can think of, or you might be doing nothing at all. However, frustratingly, no matter what you do, as you age, your cells respond less effectively to all of these strategies. Your cells naturally begin to break down, producing energy less efficiently and repairing themselves more slowly. So if your cells could just be a little bit more efficient, your exercise, nutrition, supplementation, and everything else you do could also be more effective. You could be healthier longer with much less effort. So several years ago, scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. They identified molecules natively produced inside the body that help your cells repair and regenerate. Once discovered, years of research and development went into figuring out how to produce these molecules outside of the body so that they could be sharpened. The result is a molecular technology to work better, and when your cells better, everything works better. Your exercise and diet efforts become much more productive. Nutritional supplementation works better. You feel better, you look better, you sleep better, and you have more energy. So now we're going to hear from our special guest on their redox experience. Miriam is a mother of 5, all of whom were homeschooled. She's now entering a new phase in her life, having gone back to work as a teacher and exploring new ways of making a difference to others through building her own business and learning many new skills along the way. Welcome, Miriam.
Thank you.
If you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So could you describe for us, Miriam's going to talk about her son, Johnny. So if you could describe for us what life was like for Johnny and you before he started as seer.
Yeah, sure. Before we came across a seer, Johnny would have been about 16, and he started to get some quite serious skin irritations, and it was a bacterial infection that needed to be treated with very strong antibiotics. We were quite surprised about that because we don't know how or where he could have picked it up, but the problem with it was that it responded to nothing except these very, very strong antibiotics that had to be prescribed or had to be approved by the health department for him to take. Mm-hmm. So he was pretty sick.
Yeah. And was he able to go to school often? Or?
Initially it would sort of be about recurring every 6 months, and then it got down to 4 months. Then it would get down to, in the end, it got down to about 4 to 6 weeks. So no, every time this occurred, he'd be in bed. He wouldn't be able to do anything. The infection was quite severe, and so just things like temperatures and just general well-being was completely depleted. Okay. And then he needed to eat to take the medicine, but he felt so sick he couldn't eat. It was just a really vicious cycle.
And how was it like for you as his mother?
Yeah, it was very disturbing because there's obviously nothing you can do. He has to take this medicine according to the doctor, and I saw the effect the medicine was having on him. Our biggest concern for my husband and I was that it wasn't actually taking it away. This was recurring more and more frequently. Okay. And eventually, I think it was 3 times, about 1 month apart. And then something had to be done a little bit more severe.
So you're basically on prescribed medications for that condition?
Yeah, very strong antibiotics.
Yeah. And why and how did you come to start using Redox products?
I actually think I remember eavesdropping in on one of your conversations in a kitchen one day, and I remember you were talking about it from the point of vanity, skincare, and to be honest, I just didn't really, it wasn't something that triggered an interest in me at the time. And then can't quite remember how, but we reconnected again, and I was talking about Johnny's issue with you, and that's when you said, oh, I've got something that can help.
Yeah, actually you contacted me I think the next day, and you came over and we had a talk, and then I invited you to a Tuesday night Zoom just like this one. And I think you were even, it was a bit of a rush, but I think you even went home and got your husband on to listen as well.
Yeah. Yep. We checked it out, and then we went and visited Joanna in WA. She had also had a similar condition, and she had actually treated herself with a seer and done what the medical can't do. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So Joanna is also the lady who introduced me to the Redox products, and she's actually a medical scientist. So, unlike a lot of other people who had to go and do their own research and figure out whether this was real or not, I had already had someone who had done the research, who'd gone over and met Dr. Gary Samuelson and had come back with a big, fat, thick book with all lots of science stuff that she loved. And I introduced her to Miriam, and Joanna put you on a sort of protocol, didn't she, Miriam?
Yeah, she did. Our son Johnny, my husband and I, we went and visited Joanna because by this stage, of course, Johnny was pretty sceptical about anything I gave him. It had such a terrible effect on him physically. So really needed him to be on board. And so he came to Joanna's, and Joanna told us how she had decolonised herself and suggested we follow the same protocol, which we did.
Okay. So how much was he using?
So he's taking the regular dose of a seer in the morning and at night. He was using the gel on his skin, so it caused a lot of, particularly on his face, a lot of outbreaks which had to be lanced. They would never seem to resolve themselves, and so they would have to be lanced. So he'd had quite a number of lancings on his face over that time. And so we used the gel on the eruptions, and we also used, at the time we used a Fess bottle because the Fess bottles didn't have the metallic ring in them. They had a plastic one. Now they have metallic ones, so they're no good. But the little blue bottle I've given to people with similar issues, and the spray bottle. Yeah, so you spray that up your nose because this issue colonises in the nose, and so you need to get it into your nasal cavities to really hit it.
Yeah, and I suppose a dropper could also work for that, or you need something that really goes right in. And so the normal dose for those who are new to this is 60 mils twice a day. Sorry, 60 mils in the morning and 60 mils at night. So he was just on a standard dose. Yep.
He was, yep.
Okay. And what benefits did he experience, and in what period of time?
Well, very, very quickly, within a couple of days, the eruptions that he had almost gone. They were just a little red dot. And that was one of the surprises for me because you'd said to me, take a photo before and after photo. So the second day I was saying to Johnny, I've got to take a photo, make sure that we keep a record of this. And it was too late. It had actually resolved itself, which just blew us away. Wow. But the other thing we did notice that he definitely had a lot more energy. He was a lot more buoyant. And this particular this last bout, it was actually the last time we ever had this issue. When we started to see it, it's never recurred again. So this particular time he didn't drop so low physically as he had in the previous times. And so he was more buoyant. And within about 3 days, he had a basketball game, which prior to this he would have to miss his basketball games, not go to school. All of these things just had to be left because he was not well enough to participate. So he said no, he felt fine to go to basketball. So he went to his game and he played amazingly. I was so shocked. I thought, oh gosh, is this magic stuff? It's just like, yeah, it was really exciting. So he's never turned back.
Wow. And that was how many years ago when he first started using?
You know, that was April 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. And I understand that you also decided to follow the similar protocol to keep him company. Is that right? Yeah.
I did, because he was pretty skeptical. He'd had 2 years of this terrible cycle and, you know, repeated struggle of having to take medicine that just made him so sick. It almost made him as sick as a sickness, but eventually the sickness would resolve to be obviously enough that he could get back on with his life, but then it would recur. So I said to him, okay, Johnny, I will take this with you because it's nothing medical. There's nothing toxic about it. I can take it. I can take it as well. So we were taking it together, and just so that I could support him and also check, because he was a 16-year-old boy and I wanted to make sure that he was using it. So I just found that for me, I had energy that I'd been lacking for a long time. And that was really exciting. I also started, once I could see the benefit of it, I started to jog. So I've always loved running, but I hate the recovery pain. And so I had sort of decided, oh, look, you know, maybe I'm just too old for that. So I thought, no, I'm going to give it a try. So I started my jogging again, and as soon as I have my shower, at the time I just rub the gel over my muscles, and I basically never had any recovery pain. It's fantastic. Bit of a sook. So,
and I understand you did go off the liquid for a little bit. And
yeah, I did. Just a period, I can't remember, I was busy and ran out and just left it, didn't attend to it at the time. And within about a week, I had contracted a massive flu, just really hit me so bad. It took me at least a month to recover from it. It was about March, April last year. And, I learnt from that mistake, and so I've made sure that doesn't happen again.
Never run out since.
Yeah.
And so with Johnny, just going back to him, he used the redox products for a while, enough to get well, go back to school. Does he continue to take it?
Well, no, he hasn't. He actually only used it for 2 months. And
wow.
I was a little concerned, and I kept saying to him, oh, you know, keep it up. But he really felt so good and so well that he didn't. All he's used in the, ensuing time is the gel. So if a little aggressive bump or lump or something comes up on his skin, he uses the gel straight away. Okay. And within, the day, it's gone.
Yeah.
Resolved.
And how has it made a difference to his life?
Oh, he's not having to wonder when he's going to get sick again. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So no, that's been really good, and I think it's a great backup, because if there is a need for him, he knows the benefit and he will use it. So it's good. Yeah.
And he's now since left school and is in university this year.
That's right. Yep.
And he's actually won an award of some sort.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He got a scholarship, so very thankful for that.
Great, fantastic. Well, we'd like to credit the redox molecules for that, but I'm pretty sure it was all his own hard work.
Yeah. Well, it was lovely that he, you know, once a week, every month was what he was having to take off school at the point before we had got onto the redox. So, definitely has made a difference.
Oh, fantastic. And I understand you also started to use it on your husband.
We did, yes. In the same year that we started using it for Johnny, my husband was hit with a nerve condition that gets you behind the ear here and makes your face drop. So he was in a lot of pain with that. We were actually away at the time, so when we got back, he started to use the gel on this nerve thing, which was really very, very painful, gave him nasty headaches. And I think it was just 2 or 3 weeks he used it, and then it became much, much better. And over a period of time, if he felt any pain, he would use it there again. And that was quite amazing, because they say if you don't attend to this issue within, 8 hours or 12 hours, that the recovery is a lot less efficient. Mm-hmm. So his recovery was quite good, but he still needed some. I said to him, why don't you use it on your face, because who knows, might actually help improve that and balance it out again. And it pretty much has. So it's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell from looking at him that he'd had an issue with a drop in his face.
No.
So,
Yeah, not now. It's great.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I don't have any more questions for you. I think we've covered it all. For those of you who are new to this, there will be another talk next week as well. But first of all, I'd like to thank you very much, Miriam, for coming along and sharing your stories. It's amazing, and it's so gratifying to see that I have moved from the space of using these products purely out of vanity to know that I've actually helped a family with issues that were really were debilitating for the time that he had
Absolutely.
Johnny had the condition.
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you. And thank you, everybody. Yes. So I just want to let you all know that ASEA products are not intended to diagnose, treat or cure any condition. They empower your own cellular communication and cellular function and efficiency. So if you want more information about this, which I'm sure you do after tonight's chat with Miriam, so please get back to the person who invited you to watch this presentation. And they will let you know how you can get started and you can have your own redox experience. So next week, at the same time, on the same channel, Nicole Dennis will be talking to Sharon Waters about breathing issues that Sharon has suffered for almost her whole life. And tomorrow night, as with every Wednesday, we have another presentation with an Australian Diamond leader. So Diamond is just a leadership rank with ASEA. And they talk about the company, products and science and business opportunity. So you've heard about experience tonight. If you want to find out more about the company to make sure it's they're worthy to be involved with, and we want to find out more about the science, log in tomorrow. It's www.advancinglifeintro.com. And you can just ask the person who invited you to this for those details as well. And I'm just going to check the chat box before I finish. Okay. So thank you all again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you same time next week. Thank you.